My next guest is back down to the featherweight division, going to be taking on Doo Ho Choi, this time in Las Vegas, not South Korea, on February 4th. It's Kyle Nelson, the monster, joining me here on the program. Kyle, how are you?
Oh, doing great. Training camps going well. So yeah, no complaints.
Now, I guess one of the odd things about this fight is because it was supposed to be in Korea, you guys are fighting later. Is that something you've had to adjust to in camp?
Not necessarily in camp. We plan to start adjusting for the time difference soon. Um, Again, we kind of already built a plan to adjust for South Korea, just as far as travel and time difference. So it'll be a lot less for Las Vegas because there's only a few hour time difference. So we'll do a little bit of that, and then yeah, then just get ready to fight at like 2 or 3 in the morning, whenever I'll end up going at.
Yeah, you should just stay on West Coast time or something to make up the difference a little bit, right? Because it's 3 hours behind or something. But that's great. When did you actually find out the card was moved? Because I think it just kind of came out of nowhere that, hey, this card's going to be happening in Vegas.
Yeah. Like I think my we were driving back up to Huntsville one day. My fiance was I don't know, scrolling on Instagram or something, and she had stumbled across it. And she's like, "It looks like it might be in Las Vegas," and I'm like, I don't know. Like I hadn't heard anything, and then I think it was like maybe half an hour later, we got an email from the UFC saying that it was moving to Vegas. So yeah, I mean, when I first took the fight, I didn't really look too closely. I assumed it was in Vegas, and I was pretty excited about that. And then we found it was in South Korea, and I was like, oh boy, that's a bit of a difference. But then we got comfortable with the idea of South Korea and started looking at, doing some kind of touristy stuff and staying for a few extra days. So we're kind of getting excited about Korea, and then now we're back in Vegas. So
Did you like book tickets and stuff already? Did that have to like, how did you sort that out? Because I know the UFC pays for most of it, but how was that like trying to change everything back, right?
yeah, so the UFC they book my plane ticket and one of my corners plane tickets, and then just to make things easier, I had them book my other corner and my fiance's ticket. So we had yeah, like 4 tickets. So it's not refundable, I guess. So we were able to take and use some of that for the flights to Las Vegas. Yeah, like one of the tickets I did end up eating, but I think we have a credit or something, so hopefully I can just use the credit at another time.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. It's kind of a bummer, I guess, but hey, nothing you can do about that. What about the cut to 45? I know it's a bit of a process for you to make it down. Taking out that extra travel time, I'm sure that's going to help things. How's the cut going right now?
So this is definitely the best cut to 145. This notice, we got like 2.5 or almost 3 months notice for this one. So I mean, it's been the smoothest cut. I'm eating like more calories now than I was when I was cutting down to 155, just because we've had so much time to make the weight. So that was really my big issue with 145. Before I was in the UFC, I'd get a lot of notice and I could kind of take my time, get down to 145. But once I got in the UFC, it was, kind of 2 weeks, 3 weeks. The notice was just, I'd just barely be able to make weight, but I'd kind of almost kill myself doing it. And then just never fully recover from the weight cut. Whereas this one, it's been a nice, slow, gradual cut, which means my training camp has been a lot better because I've had a lot more energy. And yeah, so I think it's going to be a lot smoother weight cut, and that'll equal a lot better performance.
And great opponent here in Doo Ho Choi. We haven't seen him in a while. This has got fight of the night written all over it. How are you looking at this fight from a style perspective?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm very excited for Dooho's kickboxing style. I'm not too worried about his wrestling or his jiu-jitsu. I mean, who knows, maybe in the last 3 years he focused on that a lot, but I don't think 3 years would have been enough to kind of catch up to my level with the wrestling and jit. So it's the fight's kind of mine to kind of choose. I think I could take him down and turn it into a wrestling or kind of a jits match, but I think the fans want it standing, and I definitely look forward to the challenge of standing with him. I think my technique again is great, and with the way the training camp has gone this time round, I think I'm going to have the energy and the cardio to keep a high pace and be able to keep my striking very sharp, which I think is I think I'm going to shine through.
How much do you factor in the layoff in this fight? You've had fights as well that, there's sort of been a gap in between. There was that whole situation where you weren't sure about your contract. Just sort of knowing that, how much do you think that'll affect him in the fight?
So it definitely affected me because I like when I don't fight, I gotta go do other things. I gotta work and stuff. And if I'm not super strict, like even if I'm training a ton, my weight will gradually go up a fair bit. So it takes me a while to bring it back down. I believe it looks like Dooho walks around a little close, like a lot closer to 145 than me. So it just kind of depends on, what he's been doing. I still think either way, there's going to be some sort of ring rust or just kind of, not being in competition. But, there's not going to be a crowd to really, mess with his head or anything like that. So it's not like it's going to be a big arena like it was going to be. So that might be a little bit less pressure on him, but still, I don't think he's going to be, I think there'll be a little bit of ring rust, but how much of that'll play a role, I don't think it will because he walks so light.
Who've been some of the main guys you've been working with for this training camp?
So like my head coach, Lynn Halmagine, we got my wrestling coach, Adrian. We've been doing some work with Mike Malott. Obviously, he's close, so I train with him a lot. We're going over to Niagara Top Team a bit to do some sparring and stuff. So over there we got like Anthony Romero and AJ and all the guys over there. Jasmine, I don't spar with her too much, but she's there, so it's definitely a good room to work with.
Sure, Crew Lynn will be in your corner. Who else is going to be in the cage with you that night?
Yeah, so I have Crew Lynn, and then we'll have my wrestling coach, Adrian Woolley, and then my fiance will be in the
Oh,
corner with
cool.
us this time.
Nice. That's
Yeah.
awesome. Excited about that? I mean, that's a first time, right? Was she in your corner last time? I can't remember.
No, no, she was at the fight, but again, because it was in London, we had like the UFC gave me a couple tickets, but because we're at the Apex, I don't think there's really like an opportunity for her to come in and watch the fight.
Right.
And I didn't have another corner anyways. And she's been instrumental in, my nutrition. She's working with myself and the Spore Lab this whole training camp. And so she's kind of doing all my food and stuff for me. So I think it'll make things even smoother to have her there with me, for fight week and yeah, have her walk me down to the octagon as well.
It's awesome. How's this fight playing out on February 4th? How do you see it going down?
I think we're going to stay standing. If Dooho gets a little too overzealous, I think he's going to walk into some heavy shots, and we'll see him go down early. But I think after being off so long, he's going to be a little more tentative, and then we're going to be looking at going into probably the second, maybe the early third round. And I think that's when my technique is going to start to shine through, and that's when I'm going to start putting together, a lot of punches. Um, very similar to my last fight in England there, where I was landing a lot of leg kicks that really had him hurt. Just didn't, step it up to the next level as far as adding in, a ton of pressure with the boxing. So we're just going to take what I did in my last fight and add on onto it, and I think it should lead for a TKO or a knockout finish.
We're still in January. What are some of your goals this year? I know we always set goals and resolutions. Do you have any that you'd like to achieve this year?
Fight lots in the UFC. Sounds like hopefully they're doing some Canadian cards. So hopefully, I'd love to jump on all of those. Outside of that, continue building my gym, the Skoka Martial Arts in Huntsville, and spend as much time with family as I can, and that's pretty much it.
What about your thoughts on Francis Ngannou leaving the UFC? A bit of a shocker there.
It is. I knew he kind of wanted to just to leave and maybe try and box Tyson Fury and different things like that. I just didn't think he would be able to. I thought that the UFC would tie him up somehow or something, or hold on to him. So the fact that he did get away, um, it's interesting that he'll be able to kind of pursue the other avenues that he wanted to pursue. I don't think boxing Tyson Fury is going to go well for him, but financially he may do really well with that. I've heard little rumors like bare knuckle wants him. I don't know if that's the best idea. I don't think bare knuckle's really going to be able to do much for him, either financially or like career wise. I don't know if it's going to add anything to him or his legacy. So, but yeah, I'm definitely interested to see where he's going to go and what he's going to do with his free agency.
Before we get out of here, what's downtime looking like right now? I know you and your fiance always, going for runs and stuff like that, to do a lot of stuff together. What are some other things you're getting up to right now during camp?
Well, lately it's basically just been like movies and TV shows and stuff like that. Just
Okay.
with
And anything
so
good you're
much.
watching? What TV wise or movie wise? Anything you're getting into?
Yellowstone, definitely. Yeah, she's a pretty big Yellowstone fan. I like Yellowstone. She watched 1883 or something like that.
Hmm.
And then I didn't watch that one. But we did just start 1920 something or one of the other things. So yeah, I mean, I really like Yellowstone. The other ones are all meh for me, but yeah.
It's awesome, man. Kyle, thanks for doing this. Always a pleasure, man. We've been doing these for a long time. It's great to see you back in action February 4th. If there's anyone you'd like to thank, any sponsors, any social media you want to plug, I'll give you the last word.
Yeah. I mean, follow me on social media, Kyle the Monster Nelson on Facebook, the Monster 705 underscore UFC on Instagram, and on Twitter it's the underscore monster. And then yeah, my sponsors Moose Delaney's, Sheath Underwear, the Sport Lab, Muskoka Renos, and then my gyms, House Champions and Muskoka Martial Arts.